Hey everyone, I hope you guys are doing awesome. I wanted to do a quick audio on something that's really important in astrology to keep in mind. And this audio recording can actually be broken down into probably 20 different parts. But for those of you that are interested in learning astrology and that are reading all about the interpretations and all of that, astrology is really complex and there's a lot of factors to keep in mind because we are constantly evolving. Transits are affecting us on a subconscious level, and an exterior and outside influences and inside influences, the whole 9 yards. And the planets are constantly moving, they're changing. They're short-term aspects that are like the daily aspects, where you can be feeling one way and then you're feeling another way the next day. When the inner planets aspect the outer planets, such as the moon moves changes signs every 2 days, but it's constantly moving and making aspects to the outer planets, changing our moods and influencing us. The same thing goes for transits to our personal charts, to the composite chart, affecting us personally, affecting our partners, affecting our relationship. And awareness is really key, where we can learn to take control of our lives by not being influenced, or by thinking twice, or by understanding the influence that is occurring and choosing otherwise. This is how we choose our fate. This is how we choose the outcome of any situation. We can choose not to react as the predicted planets are expecting us to, or influencing us to. So what I want to talk about is a couple of things. One is relationship breakups. Why is my partner acting wacky? Why do they love me one day and then not the next? Or why have we been together for 2 years and then we break up? All of these are seen by outside influences, by the outer planets. Now, this even goes for those born under a particular sun sign, such as, let's say one of you are dating, or a friend or a family member that's a Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter, optimistic, happy-go-lucky, positive, preachy even, whatever the case may be. Sagittarians tend to be optimistic. And if by chance their moon or their sun or any other planet is in difficult aspect to Pluto or to Saturn or to Neptune or to Uranus, it's going to change this person's behavior. And this is why just reading about the sun sign of the personality isn't always accurate. As far as breakups are concerned, or as far as why is my partner all of a sudden acting completely different? They were one way and then they're another way. Or why is my Sagittarius not acting himself or herself? Or why is my Gemini or Aquarius or any sign not acting as they normally were? Or why they're changing their mind, or why they're confused? All of these are seen by outer planet transits. Even some of the inner planets like Mars can make somebody more aggressive, angry, outbursts, okay? But the outer planets, let's say, for instance, somebody's has a friend, a family member, or a boyfriend or girlfriend that is a Sagittarius, like I said, and they have Saturn either in their first house transiting, or square their sun or opposing their sun, or their moon, or their Mercury, or their Venus, they will be behaving much more like Saturn. They'll be much more serious, much more reserved, much more introspective, and even reevaluating their life. Emotionally, with the moon, emotionally, their feelings and how they feel. They can feel cut off from their feelings during this time period. With the Venus, they can suddenly reevaluate their relationship, start becoming demanding, difficult to be with, all sorts of different types of things with Saturn square or opposite their Venus by transit, or their sun or their moon, and even the Mercury. So looking at the person's transits is very important to understanding what they're going through and how to best handle the situation. Some of these transits are considered breakup transits. Saturn, for instance, shows us what's really there, or shows us a more negative perspective, and also all the flaws. All the flaws are highlighted and enhanced. So if you've been in a relationship with any sign for a while and all of a sudden they're having Saturn square or oppose their Venus, this is known as a breakup transit. And this is only if you have been having problems previous, or the relationship needs change, or whatever the case may be. Saturn doesn't make things happen. He just shows us the truth of how we really feel, or he shows us things through a very negative light. Things tend to be enhanced. All the negative qualities are enhanced, and sometimes we feel insecure. Sometimes we push things away with Saturn. Sometimes it's really because we feel this way. A lot of the times, Saturn square or opposing Venus can bring about a breakup, and this is because they are seeing the other person through a negative lens. They are becoming more selfish. Saturn is about the person, the individual. He rules the 10th house of legacy, of fame, of career. So Saturn's making difficult aspect to the Sun, Moon, Mercury, or Venus can affect a person's behavior tremendously. It can also make them difficult to be around. It can also bring about their partners leaving or seeing them through that other lens. Whatever the case is, Saturn is about testing, it's about reality, and it's about the cold hard truth. Now, often when we're going through Saturn transits, we feel disconnected from our emotions, from how we feel. We also feel sometimes insecure, ugly, even because Saturn shows us the true every flaw we have and in others. So we're able to make decisions of who we really want in our life and who we don't. Sometimes people make decisions irrationally during this transit, because when the transit is over, they suddenly go back to the way that they were and feel like, oh no, I shouldn't have done this or shouldn't have done that. It teaches you a lot about how you behave, how you respond. Sometimes people realize that it was wrong all along, or that it wasn't fitting for them, or that this person was somebody that they never really appreciated them, or that they really weren't that attracted to the person. Whatever the case is, depending on the planet. With the moon, it's their emotional nature. It brings about burdens, responsibilities, problems with women, even difficulty expressing emotions. With Mercury, the mind, overthinking things, over-worrying, not feeling open to speak normally as they would. With Venus, reevaluating all they desire, all they love, all they feel about a person and the women in their lives and their relationships with other people. And this is just specifically talking about Saturn, but we have to always keep in mind that there are many other planets that are all doing the same thing to other planets. So Pluto is about, how do you really feel? Are you giving away your personal power? Do other people have power over you? Is somebody controlling you? Are you not standing up for yourself? Whatever the case, whether you're abusing your power or whether you're not using your personal power. Pluto will bring about the deepest desires, feelings, and emotions that you've ever experienced. And this is difficult for people that are used to holding in their feelings or suppressing their feelings. Pluto comes about and pushes these desires out of you. You have to get real with Pluto. How do you really feel? Now, Pluto also brings about power struggles, and he brings you to the dark depths of Hades. You can feel like you're under a cloud. You can feel like other people are power struggles around you. You can feel like people are, pushing you, about aggression, about personal power, about manipulation, about all those underhanded tactic stuff. Pluto is about power. So he rules the 8th house of secrets and mysteries and hidden things. So he likes to uncover things. He likes to dig and purge out what lies beneath. So during a Pluto transit, people can feel they need more intense experience. So let's say, for instance, you're in a Saturn type relationship where your relationship is very serious. It's very focused on work, but there's that lack of passion and desire and sex and all that. Pluto comes and all of a sudden the individual feels like, I need more. I need to feel things I want to feel. Now, that's just one example of the many ways that Pluto can come about, but it's transformation. So Pluto making difficult aspect with the Sun, Moon, Mercury, or Venus, again, can temporarily change the person's personality. Now, Saturn and Pluto transits tend to be longer. Saturn can be anywhere from 1.5 to 2 years between retrograde and direct motion. Also, in each house, he can spend 2.5 years in each house, depending upon the size of your houses. Pluto transits can last just as long on a personal planet, or 2 years on a personal planet. If he's squaring or opposing your sun, you're going to transform the way that you use your personal power, your personality. You're going to go deep within. How you really feel is going to be purged out. You might be faced with conflict and with situations that call you to stand up for yourself. If you've been misusing your power, others can come and misuse the power against you. There's a lot of different ways. Everything is about karma. It's all about how we behave and how we've handled situations up until then. Neptune tends to soften boundaries and make people more sensitive, more emotional, more loving, more romantic, more compassionate. So when Neptune is transiting, squaring a sun, it can dissolve your ego, make you more sensitive, make you more psychic, make you feel more emotional. You can be more loving, more compassionate if you're a very stubborn person, or if your partner is a very stubborn person, or if a family member is a very stubborn person. They can change during this transit. Neptune square moon or opposing moon, same thing. Emotionally, you can become more psychic, more sensitive, more compassionate, and even confused. Same thing goes for Mercury, more creative, more, compassionate, again, spiritual also, Neptune, very spiritual. And with Venus, you can need to feel like you need your partner to open up more. You want more romance. You want more magic. You have a lot of desire for magic, for compassion, for sensitivity with Neptune, okay? And Uranus is all about personal freedom, self-expression, being authentic to yourself. Sudden change, so you don't want to be boggled down or held down during a Uranus transit. So if your partner or a friend or a family member is going through a Uranus transit, they will be acting out in this way. And being aware of all these transits and how they're influencing your relationships with others and yourself is a very important part of astrology, because it can explain so many things of why one day we're in love and the next day we're not, or we've been together 2 years and suddenly my partner wants more freedom, or we've been together 2 years and all of a sudden my partner says they're not attracted to me anymore, or whatever the case is. Or my friend and I were friends forever and now all of a sudden we're not friends anymore. All these influence how a person feels. So it's important to read about the transits, and I write a lot about them on my website at www.illumastrology.com, and how they will influence the person. And in some cases with Pluto, what breaks is permanent, because Pluto tends to bring out our deepest, most intense feelings, and we can burn bridges quickly. So it's always in our best interest to realize these things, to be aware, because with awareness, we can take control of them and we can handle them differently, because we are subconsciously acting out these influences. Now, in some cases, they're good. They're supposed to bring out what needs to happen. They're part of our evolution, and they help us make changes when we're not willing to make them. Okay? And this is the same thing with eclipses and new moons. They bring about and force change that we're not willing to make or do, or we're afraid to, or we're hanging on to something that we shouldn't hang on to. In some cases, we are completely acting irrational. So it's very important that we pay attention to the transits that we are experiencing, that our partners are experiencing, that our friends are experiencing, or our family members are experiencing, to explain the changes in the personality, to explain the changes in the relationship, to explain what can be done, how to handle it, and even more. And the same thing goes for us. And we should really care about ourselves a lot more, because astrology helps us understand about ourselves. And then we can change our fate and our destiny based on understanding how we are predicted to behave, act, or respond by simply acting a different way, by simply saying, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do this. And therefore, if we have a bad chart, we can change our fate. We can change our destiny. If we have bad aspects or difficult aspects that are causing problems in our lives, we can change our fate and we can change our destiny. But we have to realize it We have to realize it and we have to work through it. And it's all mind over matter and we have to take control of it. And always ask yourself, would I be doing this if this transit was not happening? Would I feel this way if this transit was not happening? Is this something that I really feel that I need to do? And the same thing goes for everyone and everybody in your lives. Also, it helps you know how to respond to those that are going through these transits. So if you're experiencing difficulty in your relationship, look at the transits you both are going through. Look at the transits that are happening in the composite. Get a better understanding of what's going on. Therefore, you know how to handle it. If you are feeling fear or anxiety or whatever the case, or you're having a Pluto transit and you feel like I have to do everything right now and it needs to be done right now, and you're overreacting and you're feeling depressed or you're feeling anxiety, you can take control of it. You can let go and release. Pluto is about letting go. He's teaching us that, you know what, we don't really have that much power. The universe is in control. The only power we have is to control our thoughts and our own personal actions and to learn to let go, to be passersby. And then Pluto replaces, rebuilds all over. So all of the planets have their own purpose and their own reason and their own influence. But we do have free will. We can choose otherwise. And I wanted to put this video, this audio out there because I think everyone is going to find it helpful. And if you don't, I don't know why, because it has everything to do with how we behave, how others are behaving, why they're behaving that way, how to handle it, and all that stuff. I write about all the transits on my site, like I said. Astrology can also tell you all about the psychology of your partner, what they're feeling on a day-to-day basis, all the way through how they feel about you, how they see you, and whatnot. But always the transits will alter. The transits will alter as well. So that's why we're always changing. And there's a lot to synastry to see if the relationship's going to last a long time. And you got to look at the transits and see if you guys are going through similar transits at the same time. There's a lot of different things to consider. So please do dive in deep and learn as much about astrology as possible. If you'd like your own personal reading, you can do that at my site, www.illumastrology.com. I'm sending you guys all the best energy for everything you want in your life. Until next time.